ADWORDS. Google AdWords is one of the most effective ways to promote our business. Let's first look at what we can achieve by using AdWords. By using AdWords, you can increase the awareness of your physical store, as well as increase the number of visits from potential customers. You can target specific locations, so your ad appears only to people searching in your area or around it, and add your address, your phone number, and a map to your ads, thereby making it easier for users to locate and visit your business. With AdWords, you can increase phone calls to your business. You can display your phone number with your ad, making it easier for people to call you immediately, with mobile users being able to call you at the touch of a button. If you sell products online, you can use AdWords to increase sales. Display your ads to users exactly at the moment they're looking for a specific product and connect them directly to the page where they can purchase it. You can also track clicks on your ad that lead directly to orders on your site. This way you make it easier to measure and improve the return on investment, ROI, of your ads. If you want potential customers to fill out a contact form on your site, you can link your ad directly to that page, thereby making it more likely for a potential customer to fill it in. Your ad can also highlight professional assessments or a third-party review to give users more incentives to visit your site. Although the process of creating an ad in AdWords is easy and needs only a small amount of money, it does not mean that any ads you create will be effective. When we say effective, we mean to increase our profits by getting more customers to purchase our product or service. Having someone clicking on our ad and getting them to continue to our online store page is not enough. What we are interested in is how we can convince users to buy from our online store, make a reservation in our hotel, or choose our hotel for the seminar they are organizing. In other words, to get more sales and profit. That is why we hear many people complaining that Google Ads does not bring sales for their business, as it is a common, but alas a mistaken, belief that simply creating an ad is enough to guarantee us customers and sales. The truth is that creating an ad is only the first step. The question is not simply for someone to click on our ad and visit our site. What really matters is those people who click and continue to browse our site, then return multiple times, or make a purchase at least once. If you do a Google search, the first search results you will see will be some ads with links. These links are sponsored content ads and are separate and different from the organic results that Google displays below them. Within the red frame are ads from Google AdWords. As shown in the image, the ads stand out from the organic results on the icon that are next to them. Attention! There are companies who claim that if you advertise on Google, you will climb higher in the organic search results. This is simply not true. If someone tells you this, they either have no idea what they are talking about, or they are trying to trick you. According to a recent study by Google, 56% of people consulted Google before proceeding to a purchase, either from an electronic or physical store. For some businesses, such as hotel and tourism or electronic devices, this percentage is closer to 82%. Using Google AdWords allows you to advertise in two different ways. The first is the search network. This is, in fact, Google itself and also includes some other search engines. These ads are like the ones we have already shown above. For example, if we're selling brown shoes, our ad will show in Google results when someone searches for brown shoes. The second way is the Google Display Network. The Google Display Network is comprised of three parts. One part is different services belonging to Google, for example Gmail, Blogger, and YouTube. The second part is a number of other sites which partner with Google. These sites incorporate a Google code on their pages to allow advertisers to place ads on their site. Through that code, which displays ads, advertisers can select where they want their ad to show within the selected third-party sites Google is partnered with. The third part includes mobile applications that also show ads, such as apps and mobile search listings. Let us assume that we're selling brown shoes and that we want to advertise to people searching for this keyword. Let us also assume that you're willing to pay up to 20 cents for each click on your advertisement. After you create the ad, Google determines whether it is displayed by using a fairly complex formula. This formula will take into account not only how much money a company is willing to pay for a click and how much its competitors pay, but also the quality of the ad. It is, in other words, a continuous auction. However, it does not necessarily mean that the winner of the auction is the one who spends the most. The winner is the one who has the best combination of ad quality and bid per click with the price of the ad. When you are using AdWords Search Network, you are only charged when someone clicks on our ad. As already explained, the cost of advertising through AdWords Search Network is determined by two factors. One is competition, i.e., how much competitors for that specific keyword are willing to pay for a click on their ad. The second factor is the quality of our ad. This means that if all our competitors are willing to spend up to 15 cents for each click that is made on their ads, and the quality of the ad is the same as ours, then we also have to spend at least 15 cents per click. Making the calculations, we can see that for every 100 visits to our site through the AdWords advertising platform, we pay 15 euros. Who these visitors will be, and if they ultimately purchase the product or service you sell, is determined largely by how good our advertising strategy is. The higher an ad appears on Google, the more clicks it will receive. Some years ago, the position of an ad on the results page was determined solely on how much an advertiser was willing to pay per click. However, it was quickly proved that this method had two significant problems. If the advertisement was not interesting, it came up, but people would not click on it, as the ad was not appealing enough to the user. This was a problem for search engines, because no clicks would mean no profit for both the advertiser and the search engine itself. At the same time, it was also a problem for the average user, searching for something specific. The reason being that while they did a search for brown shoes, they would also see an advertisement for women's shoes or for hotels in Paris, rather than seeing an ad that was relevant to their search. The user would end up seeing a completely irrelevant ad. Google has therefore decided to address the problem of ad relevance. In order to solve this, Google incorporated the following criteria in its algorithm. The algorithm being the calculation Google uses to determine which ads will be shown and where. The percentage of clicks per 100 impressions of an ad. Click-through rate. CTR. How relevant an ad is with regard to what the user is searching for. Relevance. And how relevant the advertisement is to the site that the user visits when she clicks on the ad. Landing page experience. These three criteria, CTR, relevance, landing page experience, in this formula, are used to determine the cost of an ad and are called the quality index or quality score. Therefore, where your ad shows on Google's results page in relation to other ads will depend not only on our cost per click, CPC bid, i.e., how much you are willing to pay per click, but also on the quality score. Ad rank equals CPC plus quality score. This means that not only do we need to pay a lot of money to rank high on the search results, we must also create good quality ads. The quality score, calculated from 1 to 10, is the score for each keyword for which you want your ads to show. To see it, you must go to your AdWords account and place the mouse cursor over a keyword. The closer to 10 our quality score is, the more Google believes that our advertising, and of course the page that the customer will be transferred to when the ad is clicked, is sending the user to the correct page that they're looking for. Let's now look at the factors that affect the quality score of an ad in more detail. CTR, click-through rate. Suppose that an ad appears 100 times to various users doing a search, and let's also assume that for every 5 of these appearances, someone clicked on this ad. In this case, we can say that the frequency of clicks is 5%, and that the CTR is also 5%. The better your ad is with respect to what the user is looking for, the higher CTR will be. Typically, anything greater than a CTR of 1.5 is considered good. However, this is a general rule and not always applicable to all categories and markets. Also, when an advertisement appears in the first position, it will have a greater CTR than if it appears second or last. This is something that Google is well aware of and has taken account of in its calculations. Ad relevance. The more our advertisement responds to what the user is looking for, the better ad relevance it has. One way to achieve this is to include the keyword in the text and in the title of our advertising. Furthermore, we can put it in the display URL and the URL that is to be displayed in our advertising. For example, in the advertisement below, we see that the URL contains the keyword of our search, which is sneakers. There are 3 classifications of ad relevance: below average, average, above average. If we are in the average or above average category, then this means that there are no significant problems with our advertising. On the contrary, if our score is below average, we will probably need to change something. Usually an advertisement is in the below average rating when it's too general or when it targets too many different keywords. In this case, it is better that we make more ad groups, each of them targeting less and more specific keywords. For example, it's good to have different ads and perhaps ad groups for the keywords shoes, women's shoes, and men's shoes. Caution: it is possible that a keyword has a high quality score and a low ad relevance, or vice versa. The reason is that AdWords, as we have explained, takes into account various factors to determine the quality score. Even if we have a high quality score, we need the ad relevance to be at least average in order to achieve the results we want. Part of creating a successful ad is making sure the landing page experience is helpful and interesting to the visitor. This means sending the user to a relevant page after she has read your advertisement and decided to click it. The page which users land on should ideally contain quality content. In addition to loading quickly, the landing page should contain terms of use and a privacy policy. It must also naturally be relevant to the ad that the user has clicked. Just as we should not have the same ad text for all keywords, we should also not have the same landing page for all our ads. On the contrary, keyword, ad text, and landing pages should be perfectly aligned. We must make sure that our visitors feel that each step of their journey on our site is clear and the online experience we provide smooth and flawless. A good method of doing so is to use the text of the ad as the title of our landing page. In a way, whoever clicks on our ad will immediately know that she has landed on the right place and not be confused. If the landing page is related to the search term, is of good quality, has original content, has corporate transparency, easy navigation, loads fast, and has no technical issues, then Google would assess that this will provide a good user experience. But why is the quality score of our ads such a big deal? The first reason has to do with the cost of our advertising. As we have already explained, if our ad is to appear first on the results page, a high bid is not enough. Equally important is its quality score. This means that if we have a good quality score, we'll pay less per click than our competitors. However, this does not only apply for the first ad position. Even if we appear in second or third place in the search engine results page, we will pay much less for each click if we have a high quality score. The second reason quality score is important is the return on investment, ROI, that our ads have. An ad that has a high quality score is usually a carefully constructed advertisement. This means it is addressed to the right people in the right way and gives the right message, therefore bringing more quality prospects and customers. When someone makes an online purchase, it's very important for us to be able to check where these sales come from. Google Analytics can help us with this, and in addition we can also use the conversion tracking tools that AdWords provides. When someone clicks on one of our ads, Google places a cookie on the user's browser. Through this cookie, it can follow the path the user took inside our site and see what happened after the click on our ad. For example, if someone bought a product, if they made a reservation, if they registered for our seminar, etc. In order to use conversion tracking, we need to place some codes on the page that appears after a user makes a purchase or registration, such as a thank you page. To find this code, we go to the Tools option in AdWords and select Conversions. The conversions for our site are counted in two ways, one per click and many per click. The one per click estimates one conversion for each click on your AdWords ad that leads to a sale or desired action. This means that if more than one desired action happens after a click on our ad, it would only calculate the first of these. This specific method is usually used in cases where we want to make the visitor of our page do one thing. For example, use the contact form to register for our newsletter, or buy our product if we sell only one product or service. The many per click counts more than one conversion or other desirable actions. For example, if you have an online store and customers often buy more than one product at a time, it makes sense to use the many per click option. Why is conversion tracking useful? This answer is simple and complex at the same time. The simple part of the answer is that the conversion tracking allows us to connect each ad and keyword with our goals, to see which ads and which keywords are bringing not just clicks, but actually realized sales to our business. We can also see which of the keywords we track and bid on give more return on our investment. In this way, we can invest more in the keywords driving the most sales and thus maximize our profits. As mentioned, this is the simple and obvious reason for using conversion tracking. However, Google also allows us to optimize how our ads appear in order to maximize our sales. This is referred to as the conversion optimizer. What makes the conversion optimizer a particularly important tool is that it can adjust our campaign in such a way as to increase our sales as much as possible. Instead of the sales focusing on clicks, CPC, or impressions, CPM, the conversion optimizer focuses on maximizing conversions. With the conversion optimizer, you can define either a maximum cost per sale, maximum cost per acquisition, which is the maximum amount you're willing to pay for each conversion, or a target cost per customer, CPA target, which is the average amount we will pay per conversion. To work properly, the conversion optimizer uses the history of each campaign as a benchmark in order to understand what kind of clicks bring conversions and sales. That is why it was necessary until recently to have at least 15 successful sales conversions in the last 30 days in our AdWords account before we could activate the conversion optimizer tool. Looking at the account's history, the tool automatically detects the optimal cost per click, CPC, for your ad each time the ad appears. Although the charge is still based on the clicks, the rate at which our ads are displayed is such as to ensure that we get the sales we want without exceeding the amount that we have set as a limit on how much these sales will cost us. Taking into account the background of each campaign, our conversion optimizer tool proposes a maximum CPA bid and a recommended target CPA offer to give us a suggestion on the amount we should spend on each sale conversion. If these amounts are not far from those we would be willing to pay to sell a product, we may want to use them. Even if the cost is somewhat larger than anticipated, it is recommended to use them in order to allow Google to gather more information about what works and what does not, thereby increasing the data available to the conversion optimizer tool and enabling us to achieve better results in the future. Then, based on the results of each ad, we can either increase or decrease the amount the tool suggests. At first, the user of the conversion optimizer must invest some money to allow it to collect as much data as possible. Even if the first sales do not bring the desired profit we are hoping for, we should consider it as an investment that will give this tool the chance to work in the best way possible for your business. Once the test phase, i.e. testing the tool for your business, is completed, and you have settled to a specific amount as your CPA, do not change it more frequently than once every few weeks. The conversion optimizer tool takes time to adapt to the new amounts you enter, and any changes will significantly reduce performance. The use of the Conversion Optimizer tool should under no circumstances be placed as an excuse for not having a good quality score and generally not having optimized ads. The Conversion Optimizer tool works with the data that you give it, for example, the landing page for a specific keyword, the text to be included in your ad, and so on. If the data that you give the tool is of poor quality, then the result that the Conversion Optimizer brings will be just as poor as if you had uploaded these ads manually. In other words, garbage in, garbage out. Thus, you'll be paying more per sale than if you had created better ads. So ensure that all the data you feed to the Conversion Optimizer tool is of high quality. Chances are that you will see changes in the performance of your ads when using this tool. There is never anything static within paid advertisements. This is partly due to the fact that the environment of AdWords is dynamic. Firstly, the consumer preferences are always changing, with new products and trends being introduced constantly in the market. Secondly, every day there are new competitors coming in and out. This changing landscape therefore changes the performance of your ads regularly. It's advised to use the Conversion Optimizer tool after you have completed setting up your campaign in AdWords, having decided the keywords that you're going to target, the text of each ad, and after ensuring that the ad groups that you created are the right ones. If you make major changes, such as removing ad groups and replacing them with others, while using Conversion Optimizer, you will most likely see negative changes in your ad's performance. Once the campaign begins, there is of course always tweaking to do. But once we start using the Conversion Optimizer tool, it is advisable to reduce changes to a minimum. Otherwise, it may take months to see the results we want. Always compare the performance of the Conversion Optimizer tool with the results you had before activating it. Thus, you'll be able to understand whether the tool is increasing your business profits. Since the Conversion Optimizer cost is based on the sales it brings, it is unadvisable, or just plain stupid, to have budget restrictions when using it. You should always have the budget set at more than it can spend, and make sure that this budget is never depleted or exhausted. After all, the more we spend, the more sales we have, and because we have already determined how much we want to pay for each sale, it is foolish to put restrictions on the budget of our advertising. If we do this, we are putting limits on our profits. It is almost certain that once you turn on the Conversion Optimizer tool, you will see fluctuations in the performance of each ad. This is normal and expected. In order to form a complete picture of how this function affects our sales, it will take some time to compile data that can be used to get a full understanding of the tool's performance. As we mentioned, to enable the Conversion Optimizer tool, there was a restriction of at least 15 conversions in 30 days. Even though this is not the case anymore, it is strongly advised to have at least 50, or even better, 100 conversions before you start using it. Mistakes in the use of AdWords. Insufficient statistics will result in mistakes in the way you run your campaigns using AdWords. Even if we run a campaign installing Google Analytics on our site, it is imperative to measure results. It is through this software that we can draw conclusions about who visits our site and what pages consumers visit when they are there. Otherwise, running a campaign without Google Analytics is like traveling without a map. Only by chance will we get to our destination, as we can't be sure what works and what doesn't. If we are also using the Conversion Optimizer tool, we must ensure that Google Analytics is installed, as the tool runs off data which can be found within the software. Again, deciding not to have analytics is going to result in ineffective campaigns and a loss of sales for our business. Another way you can ineffectively use AdWords would be to create a campaign containing only one ad group for all our products. Instead of grouping everything into one ad group and pouring all our products into the same bucket, we should segment similarly themed keywords into themed ad groups. Each ad group should have individual products and should be segmented as much as possible. Let's say you're selling men's and women's shoes. Instead of putting all the women's shoes in the same group, make separate groups for trainers, boots, heels, and so on. Even better, make different groups for specific sized heels, such as 12-inch heels or 10-inch heels. Ideally, you can also separate products by color, depending on what it is you're selling. The ad groups you choose should depend on the products you are selling. Ensure that all groups contain keywords that are relevant to one another and that make sense for them to be themed together. Another mistake in using AdWords is to create similar campaigns across both Search Network and the Google Display Network. Both are Google's ad networks, but there are significant differences between them. Most importantly, they all target completely different audiences. In the Search Network, the user is explicitly searching for a product or service. For example, searches for hotel in Santorini indicate that a user is looking for a specific place and is researching a purchase. This means that the click made on our advertising is much more likely to lead to a sale conversion. Instead, the Google Display Network user does not have our product in mind. Instead, they could simply be reading an article on a blog or browsing when they come across our advertisement. This means that even if the user clicked on our ad, it would be more out of curiosity than with the intention to buy, statistically speaking. Due to the huge difference in the way that both platforms work, i.e., one is based on specific targeting, the other is based on displayed and placed advertisements, it means that in order to run successful campaigns on both platforms, you must have different strategies as to how you will target your users, spend your budget, and structure your ads for each. Create multiple versions of each ad. For example, if the above advertisement was ours, we should do the following variants. The more variations and combinations of text, uppercase, lowercase, etc., the better. Believing that these changes would not make any difference in our performance would be incorrect. If we let two ads with minor changes compete with each other, after some time we will find that one of them brings much better results based on users preferring a certain style or wording of the advertisement. However, because we do not know which of all the variations are correct, we ought to examine as many as possible. A prerequisite, of course, is to have a sufficient budget, which will allow several appearances in each version of the ad in order to be able to draw safe results. If each variant has appeared only 10 times, any differences in clicks will be random and will not mean anything. As we have already analysed, the Conversion Optimizer tool is an excellent tool that can increase our sales. Before we use it, though, it is better to have at least 50 to 100 conversions. So, until then, what are we going to do? Fortunately, Google gives us another tool called Flexible Bid Strategies. The best flexible bid strategy we can use is called Maximize Clicks. Our selection of this strategy ensures that our ads will receive the most clicks possible based on our available budget. This obviously does not mean that our advertising will always come first, or that it will constantly appear. But it does mean that for the money we invest, we will get best possible results. Although we could have more control putting restrictions on how much it can cost per click, it is not always necessary to do so. Google does its job of understanding our data very well, giving us the best possible results. There are very few times that we can do something better ourselves manually, and usually to do so requires us to perform many experiments and be constantly on top of our campaign while making adjustments. This, of course, takes a lot of time and money. But with automation, we can drive positive results in shorter periods of time.